I like them because I don't really get the crash that sometimes I get after coffee.
Surprise, surprise, it's just me this time.
What's going on here?
The ENFP show. Shut up. It's the ENFP show. You'll never guess what I did to INTJ. She made a remark about Avatar: The Last Airbender, and people of TikTok were not happy, so she had to go. What other choice did I have? What else was I supposed to do? It's her ghost! Her ghost has returned!
The ghost of hipsters past.
The ghost of hipsters past, of emos past. Hi, guys.
Should I try and pull that down?
I was trying to, but the thing just doesn't work.
Okay, I'll take a look. I have an NT brain.
Okay. Did you get it? It sounds like she's getting it. Please don't fall on me. I don't trust your SE at all.
I had it. What happened?
Guys, what happens if an INTJ falls on you? Does an ENFP get any sort of compensation? Ah!
Can you even see me?
I can just kind of see your awesome butt.
Ah! Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh. Ooh, we survived.
Welcome to the INTJ and Cat Show.
Meow. I kind of, kind of cat ears, maybe?
It's a really nice day outside, and so...
We had to close the blinds.
No, so the cats are outside.
Oh. It's a nice day.
It's a nice day, so we closed the blinds. Because I am allergic to the sunlight.
Actually, she's a real vampire. I just don't like the sun.
Low iron, allergic to the sun. I taste for red meat.
So this was an episode I've been excited to do because it just sounds so funny. Okay, let's start our intro. Hi, I'm ENFP, and I'm a certified practitioner with the Myers Briggs Foundation, and this is INTJ.
I like patterns.
She likes patterns, don't we all? Actually, not all types like
No,
patterns.
most types don't. That's a big statement, too.
I like a nice striped pattern. I like when you mix like a stripe pattern with a floral pattern.
How do you feel about the polka dots?
Polka dots, if they're done tastefully, and that is hard to do.
What do you mean if they're...
They have to be done tastefully.
No, what do you mean it's hard to do? Like,
polka dots are a lot, and sometimes they just are too much, and sometimes they look a little clashy and a little tacky.
cheetah print.
Also, a hard one to do, to like make work and make it actually look chic.
Zebra print.
I, at one point, thought maybe I would want stripes on my butt like a zebra. So today, we're going to be discussing what annoys us about each of the 16 personality types.
This is our haterade episode.
As she would call it, our haterade episode, which is also hilarious. And I told her, you're going to say that like 20,000 times during this episode, aren't you?
Nope, just once.
Haterade. Should we just title it the haterade episode? It feels a little harsh to say what we hate about each type. Because, at least for me, I don't know that I vehemently hate anything about every type.
It's clickbait.
But that is good clickbait. I think people like strong language. So we'll go ahead and say what we hate about each of the 16 types.
Yeah, it's because neutral language falls into, like, mildly negative. Like, if I were, like, your mid, you would be offended.
That is true. No one likes being average.
Right. But we really just, all of us are. So we need to use really strong language on both sides to, like, make a point.
Okay. So today we're talking about what we hate about each of the types. Now, personally, to compensate, I would like to do another episode about what we love about each type.
That episode will be short.
Not for me. I'll be talking the whole time. Also, I would like to show the difference in how we've prepared. Ironically, I have prepared for this episode. I actually got on my computer and had to go through each of the types because I had to really think hard about what do I not like about certain types, because most types, I like people. I like people, and there are a few types that maybe I don't click with as much, but even then it's hard to like, oh, this is what I hate about them. So I really had to prepare for this. What about you?
I'm pretty sure that I have enough hatred bubbling up that it will just come out.
She didn't have to prepare. She's like, nah, I'm just going to sit down and think about what I hate about each of them. It'll just come easily. Guys, I have to, this is just for ENFP, I have to put a warning and a preface that I don't hate anyone, okay? And by the way, for a lot of the things I put on my lists here, they are not all people of a certain type, right? If I say something I don't like about the ENFJ or something, or the ISFP or something, doesn't mean that I find that in every single one of those types.
Okay,
It's
yeah,
just
like let's put the
disclaimer.
our entire show is based on stereotypes of personality.
Exactly.
Like,
These are broad strokes.
and I think we say this in every episode. I don't know if it makes it into the final cut of every episode, but personality is not identity. You are more than your personality. Personality is just like a grouping of like people that you might find.
And you might not identify with some of these things. I might say that
you might find a sense of belonging with.
Yes.
And understanding.
I might say that an ESTJ annoys me because of blah, blah, blah. And you're like, I'm an ESTJ and I don't do those things. Good for you. Okay?
Yeah.
Good for you.
You also might have mistyped yourself.
Yes, all ESTJs are controlling and bossy.
If you don't fit in the stereotype, you probably just mistyped yourself.
You have to have this annoying trait.
No. But I mean, it also, like, I'm pretty sure, like, some of the NT, like INTJ.
Okay, let's also make another disclaimer.
Yeah.
We are human beings and we have bias, and there are some types we like better than others. There are some types that I really don't click with, and so their list might be a little longer.
No, well, I was going to say is, like, I looked at yours and I chuckled, but that wasn't as much, like, I was thinking that you'd have, like, not very emotionally expressive, maybe on the INTJ list, and you didn't.
Well, I basically do. I just haven't gotten to it.
But
it's short.
That would be something that someone might say. Actually, as an INTJ, I do know that I'm maybe not as emotionally expressive in times that people need, like, excitement. And so having that, like, awareness of...
Right. Some of these bad traits can be a positive.
Well, no, I was going to say having the awareness of that means that, like,
yes.
I can be self-aware and I can help, like, overcompensate in those areas. Like, if you need me to be excited for something, I'm like, okay, I know I'm not normally, like, have an excited, like, disposition or demeanor, but she needs it. And so I'm going to go extra hard in this area to, like, hit the little bell that she's...
Yeah, sometimes if I have, like, fun news, I'll come to Miss INTJ and I'll be like, I'm about to share fun news with you. I need you to be excited.
Yeah.
So that she knows how to give me the appropriate response. Okay? That's how we make relationships work, is just communicate.
Oh, wait.
Do that. Did you make a list and you forgot about it?
No, I have the random number generator.
Oh, okay. We'll just do the type generator. Make sure that the types are correct. Don't leave out ENTP this time.
We'll do one at a time.
All right, let's try it.
ENTJ.
All right, guys, we're starting with ENTJ.
I think my biggest conflict and dislike with the ENTJ is that they want to be in charge, but they're not always equipped to be in charge. Now it's your turn to say something.
Okay, you have to stop yourself there. That's going to happen a lot in this episode. Yeah. Like, stop me before I go too far.
No, it's just so I end up with, like, a little bit of, like, now I'm like...
You have to clean up their mess, kind of?
Well, I'm, like, leading breadcrumbs to get them to the right place. So they can still feel like they owned the room and they won and they got to the conclusion that they wanted to. But I feel like I had to, like, sneakily get them there. I can't just, like, if an ENFP and an ENTJ are in a room and the goal is to get them to sit on the sofa, right? I could be like, hey, you want to sit on the sofa?
Yeah!
With an ENTJ, you have to kind of, like, hey, remember that day, the other day that you were thinking about, like...
You have to make it their idea.
Yeah, like, remember when you were thinking about sofas and which one was the best? I think you said that one, right?
You have to make the ENTJ think it was their idea.
Yeah, which is fine if it's just, like, sitting on a sofa, but when it's them, like, trying to orchestrate and coordinate a bunch of stuff, that you're trying to make them think that it's their idea so they can feel like they're in charge and they're winning, but you're really just, like, moving all the pieces. The puppet master gets tired.
Yeah, so my list kind of, like, too competitive. I think that's kind of what that goes into, is they can be too competitive, and that goes with themselves and with others. I think a lot of the time...
they are really hard on themselves.
It's like, there's a lot of times where they're competitive with, like, an invisible audience. There's no one even there that they're competing with, but they still feel this deep desire to be the best. And that it can be annoying. Now, that can be a great trait.
Hey, we're not talking about what we like about them.
But we're not talking about that. It can be very annoying. Argumentative.
Yeah, a little bossy.
So the too competitive can bleed into becoming too bossy, too controlling of a situation. I would say argumentative. Mm-hmm. For the sake of, they just want to win so bad. Yeah, sometimes, and it doesn't help that I'm an INTJ, because I like to be contrarian sometimes. But then they want to win the contrary. Like, it's like, hey, for devil's advocate, what about this? And instead of, like, oh, that's a different perspective we didn't think about. I'm glad you said devil's advocate. Like, no, that's stupid.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, now we're going to fight.
And that's part of what you're going to find a similar, at least with me, with a lot of the judging function led types, so ENTJ, INTP, all of these types that are led by a judging function, cognitive function speaking, they tend to not be as able, they can't be as flexible when they've made up their mind. So they will make up their mind about something and come to a conclusion, and then it's really hard to get them back from that to change their mind. And that goes with the ENTJ
It's kind of funny to watch an ENTJ when you're trying to walk them back from something they've already made up their mind.
Because they're so resistant to it.
Because they are, but they want to pretend like they're not.
They will do anything to be right.
And so you're slow. You know, if you go in too hard, like it could be like, hey, we're fighting to better ourselves. I mean, Plato said that debates were a terrible form of bettering yourself and finding the truth of knowledge because it's just about arrogance.
Oh,
like people debate because they want to win. They don't debate because they want to examine the information. And I think that refers really clearly to the ENTJ. It's like they will debate you to win first and to learn information second. Where maybe like an ENTP will debate you to examine the information first and to win second.
We have been talking how long just about the first type. We need to make this quicker. I will say one more thing about the ENTJ. This is more for me than you probably because I'm a feeler. What annoys me about the ENTJ when I've experienced them is when I would not come to them with my emotional needs unless I really set them up. Because if I come to an ENTJ...
What's the timeline on this?
If I come to an ENTJ being like, I'm really sad right now and I'm crying, they're going to be like, all right, what do we need to do? What? I have a schedule here.
Yeah,
how do we speed this up?
Emotions are based on circumstances and logic, not on emotion. So if we can logically fix it, then emotionally it needs to move on. Yeah.
Like we fix the problem, why are you sad? So I either would not go into an ENTJ with my problems or I really have to set them up like, hey,
yeah,
I'm
and they
sad.
can. If you say, like, I'm sad.
I set up.
Yes. I don't want a pep talk. I don't want you to fix this. Like, I know the things. I'm sad.
Then they can sometimes do it if they're a healthy individual.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what's the next type?
INFP.
Oh, almost total opposite.
I think they hold grudges, which, like, who was it that said, the past is never gone, it lives on within you?
Probably an INFP.
But that's what it is like they keep resurrecting the past within themselves. And I'm like, bro.
I do experience...
Do a Rafiki from The Lion King. What does it matter? It's in the past.
I like that. Let's watch Lion King after this. Yeah, I have noticed that INFPs compared to me as ENFP tend to be much more nostalgic and live in the past. And I think kind of on that note, I put down pessimistic.
Oh, yeah, they are bummers.
INFPs, and it's very much that Enneagram 4 energy, kind of like at its maybe not worst, but...
It's like, no, I mean, there's two types of Enneagram 4s. There's like the hopeless Enneagram 4, and there's like just the wallowing Enneagram. Like, I'm just going to be sad today, and it'll be fine because tomorrow's a new day. Or I'm just going to be sad forever.
There's the 4 that's wistful, and then there's the 4 that's like the tortured poet, and they're kind of annoying. And INFPs can be that way. They can tend towards pessimism and being a little mopey, and that's kind of where the grudges can come from. Also...
No sense of humor. That's a good note.
Listen, I have had INFP friends that they do have a sense of humor, so I guess I shouldn't say they have no sense of humor.
It's like no sense of funny or fun.
It's that judging-led function where they tend to take life a little more seriously than I do as an ENFP, so we tend to mismatch of like, life is goofy and silly to me, and for the INFP, they take it a little more seriously.
Yeah, and I think like there's the other thing, because they're led with that judging function on how they feel about something before, like that's FI, right?
Yeah.
Like, how does this align with me and my values? They can sometimes miss the message.
Yeah, they're trying too hard to figure it out.
Yeah.
Than to just receive it.
ENTP.
Ooh, okay. This one's hard because we love ENTP.
I love ENTPs, but I've said this before, maybe not on the pod. They like to have like deep conversations, which is just great as an INTJ. But then they get bored halfway through, and you can tell they're bored and trying not to disengage, but they're not good at hiding that or masking that. And so then you're like, why are we, like, I can tell you're not even thinking about what I'm saying anymore.
Yes, personal experience. I have watched INTJ here talking with my father, who is an ENTP, and they have great philosophical conversations that are very intellectual about stuff that I don't understand. To me, they sound like the Charlie Brown people. But they're talking about these cool things, but I will see it. Usually it's like 30 minutes in. My dad, who's ENTP, he starts getting bored.
But he started the conversation.
He started the conversation, and he's giving great insight that's beautiful and super deep. But there comes a point where his NE is just like, okay, I need to move on. What's the next? It's that ADHD thing.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, let's do the next thing.
Yeah, like, I mean, I think 30 minutes is, and, you know, different ones go for different. I'm like,
Right.
don't start the conversation if you're going to check out a few minutes later.
Yeah, because if you were talking with an INTJ about the same thing, you guys could probably just sit and talk about it for a while.
Yeah, I mean, we want to hit all of the angles in a lot of ways. Yeah.
Yeah, I put they could be contrarians.
I like that.
But they do it in a way that's fun. The INTP, which we'll get to, I'm sure, is also contrarian. But for the ENTP, they do it in a way that's fun. So I don't even know if I could say that it annoys me.
No, but I think there are sometimes that it's like, and this might be true for all the NTs, they miss the point where it's not fun anymore and that somebody's like feelings are invested or somebody's... Really?
It was literally, I wrote that down, but kind of similar.
Like somebody's now emotionally invested or involved.
Yes.
But they're still like, I'm still going to like poke the bear. It's like,
I think what I'm specifically thinking of is they will, okay, let me say, this is in the case usually of immature ENTPs. ENTPs that are maybe really young, haven't super developed healthily yet. They care so much about stirring the pot and getting reactions that they don't care about people's feelings. Like, I think when ENTPs grow up, they mature, they get healthier, they don't do that as much, but I do think immature ENTPs can tend to. They want to stir things up so much they disregard people's emotions. And so some people will end up getting hurt.
Yeah. Okay. Next. ENFJ.
Oh boy. ENFJ is not one of your favorite types.
It's not. And I think
that's fair.
I've talked about this a couple of times, and this will probably come up with the ENTP also, but they are not honest with themselves. I've known a couple of ENFJs who, like, you can tell that their motivator might be ENFJ women, their motivators to get married. And that's beautiful and wonderful and fine.
Yeah.
But if you ask them, like, hey, it seems like you're just trying to get married right now, like, they'll be like, no, I'm doing this. I'm like, please just be honest with yourself. Like, it's clear to everyone else in the room, but you're the last one apparently to know your secret.
And I think some of that may come from, obviously, that would happen in a more immature person, generally. But I think a lot of it comes from the cognitive function of they're not super in tune with FI, which is about your own personal values, ethics. So we tend to, who use FI, I think you use FI?
I do.
You're more in tune and self-aware with how you feel about things and why you're acting the way you are. With FE being so dominant for them, I think they don't actually take the time to think too much about what they're doing and why they're doing it. They care more about how they're being viewed by others, especially if they're more unhealthy. How are other people viewing them? And they might think, oh, well, if I'm just trying to get married, that might be seen as a bad thing. So no, I'm not doing that. I think that could be what's going on there.
Yeah. So there's that. There's also, they'll ask you for advice and then ignore it. And it's not like we're out there giving unsolicited advice, but if someone comes to me and asks for advice.
We have had ENFJs come to both of us or just you and be like, hey, what should I do in this situation? And then literally 5 minutes later, go do the opposite.
Yeah. So really it's like more, they're just looking for you to validate what they had already decided. And it's like, just like if you're going to act confidently, be confident.
Own up to your stuff.
Own up to yourself. That's my big thing. Okay.
And again, I will say, yes, we've experienced that with ENFJs. I've known ENFJs that never do that, but yes. The only other thing, well, actually two things. They can be a little nosy. ENFJs, you can be a little nosy and a little smothering too. Again, they can, because they care. That FE, they want to take care of others. And I've experienced ENFJs that are just way too smothering. They're not actually like, do you actually want my help? They're just putting their help on you without asking.
They don't trust you
to take care of
yourself.
Yeah, that's what can be annoying. Last thing I'll say about ENFJ, this kind of goes for ESFJ too. Sometimes ENFJs, I think you care a little too much about your social status. Not always, but a lot of ENFJs I've known, it's like you care too much about the pecking order and how do other people view you, and it just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, and it can be a little annoying to me. Not every ENFJ has done that, but a lot of them.
ESTP.
This is hard for me, guys. I love them.
In a very similar thing, it's another, I don't feel like they're honest with themselves.
Or others.
I
think it's the opposite. I think they're honest with themselves and they're deceptive to others.
Maybe, but like not in the same way as like the ENFJ is like not honest with themselves.
Yeah.
But I do think that, or maybe it's like an insecurity thing. I don't know.
They're
I
trying to.
can't say they're all insecure. That's a wild statement.
Actually, I think I know what you're talking about because I wrote it down too. Sometimes they can tend to put on a persona because ESTPs also really care about, they are naturally popular, but they care about what other people think.
Yeah, and then they buy into that persona more than they buy into like authentically being themselves.
Yeah, and it could be the insecurity of like some of those very extroverted types.
I know, I'm like, you can't just say all of one type is insecure though.
Some of these very extroverted, very social types have an insecurity of being seen as not deep. And so I will see a lot of ESTPs and ENFJs try to brand themselves as introverted people when I can tell what they really are because there's an insecurity there of, but I want people to know that I'm deep too.
Yeah.
The last thing I'll say about ESTP, because I didn't share too much, I mostly agree with you, is just the flightiness. And there's like 4 types on this list that I included that with. ESTP is one of them. It's just ADHD brain. They're a little too flighty and they're just like, ooh, what's the next thing? And what's the next shiny object? And even as someone with any, that's a little annoying because it's like on steroids. It's like, ooh, the next shiny thing. So that can be annoying.
ENFP.
Oh, guys, I got to think about what I hate about myself and I'm perfect. Look at me. This is the hardest thing I've ever had to do.
I think that ENFPs can be inconsistent.
Okay, go ahead. What do you hate about me?
Well,
lay it out. Lay it out.
I think inconsistent. I think...
Go into detail.
Well, I don't know if it's specific to all ENFPs or just you, but it can be really hard to like make a plan.
Well, yeah, it's the ADHD thing that I just said.
Yeah.
It's ADHD. I don't know if it's actually ADHD.
And like the reason I'm like, well, maybe it's just you is like because you've had some health stuff and whatever, but it's like, hey, we're gonna do this on this day, and then you're like, oh, like not that this is like, oh, I hate this, but like yesterday I'm like, oh, I really want to go up to Mountain nearby,
down up to the mountain,
down up to the mountain, and you're like, oh, that's really fun, I want to do that too, and then you weren't feeling well.
Yeah.
And I hadn't like made it like this is what I'm gonna do today, and then I was like, maybe I'll go to this same place today. But then I wasn't feeling well, so, I can't make that, like, da-da-da-da-da. But there is a little bit of a pattern that it's hard to make concrete plans because we just don't know what's happening in the ENFP world.
That is hard for me to answer, too, because most of these things, like she said, are related to the example from yesterday. I'm transferring onto a new medication, and I'm having really bad side effects. So that's, like, most of these times I can point to, oh, that's related to my like health stuff.
But like
is that the case for other ENFPs?
I'm thinking about some other ENFPs that I know too, that it's like, I think it for their sense,
the commitment,
they'll overcommit and underdeliver.
Yes, that I will say yes, and I kind of put that down. I said can't finish things. We're really good starters. We're not great finishers, and that's something I have to develop over the span of my life, and I'm still working on, and I'm way better at. Is when I say I'm going to start something, I do it, and also saying if I'm going to commit to this thing, but also, as you said, trying to be careful not to overcommit.
And I think like the other thing is that a lot of ENFPs share with the ENTP in the boredom like thing.
I'm bored.
Where they get bored and they check out, which is like we all get bored sometimes, but. Yeah. Boredom is like the birthplace of creativity. And sometimes I think ENFPs particularly won't let them...
That's so beautiful.
Won't let themselves sit in the boredom enough to let...
Because that's when the dark thoughts come
when the darkness comes in. They won't let themselves sit in the boredom enough to let something new spring forth from them. They'll distract themselves from the boredom.
Yeah, I have had to... I don't know about ENTP. I've had to learn to rest into my FI. And that is where my inspiration comes from. Well, my inspiration comes from taking things in with my NE. But if I don't take the time to sit with my FI, then I'm not going to know what to do with that inspiration. So you're right. I just wrote down the last thing about ENFP and myself that annoys even myself.
What annoys me about myself?
What annoys me about myself and other ENFPs is we're people pleasers. And I wrote that down about INFJ too. I think we're people pleasers in different ways, but we just want everyone to be happy. We don't like unhappiness. We just want everything to be good. And so we tend to be people pleasers. And that's part of why we tend to overcommit is like, I don't want to disappoint people. So that's kind of annoying about ENFPs.
The ISTP.
What is there to hate? That literally is the shortest list I have for the ISTP because I think they're amazing. And the ISFP. I love both of them. What can you say? They're perfect.
I suppose you could say they're perfect. I wouldn't agree with that
They're
statement.
practically perfect in every way.
I think that they have a hard time navigating their emotions.
That's true.
And so instead of like navigating it, they branch off and they don't get close to people or let people get close to them. And they funnel like those things into some type of physical activity where they don't have to deal with
Distraction.
it ever, and they distract themselves.
That's a good point.
I think they're very bad at commitment.
I'm glad you know what you don't like about people, so I can piggyback off of it.
You spent time making a list, and I'm over here like not all, like obviously not every type is going to be really bad at commitment, but I do think that they do,
ISTP is
because
one
of their
of them.
independence.
Yeah.
They do have a harder time with commitment, and that they see commitment more as like a prison than a safe harbor.
Yeah. That's pretty much all I could think about was like, I wrote down 2 independent. That's basically what I was getting at, is I think they are not super, it's usually probably if they're more unhealthy or haven't worked on it, but emotions can kind of freak them out. It's kind of like an avoidant personality, right? Too much emotion is a little freaks them out. So instead of let's deal with it, they'd rather go, I'm going to go on a 12-day backpacking trip. See ya.
Yeah. And I think that like, not like, because they're so foreign with like navigating emotions, that sometimes they'll present something where it's like, oh yeah, I feel like they're on board and they get it.
Yeah.
And they think that they're being honest and authentic with themselves, but they're really not, because they never did the work.
They're trying to get shortcuts.
Yeah.
With their emotions.
Well, they don't know that they're trying to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right, next one. There you go, ISTP. That's your problem. We're diagnosing people.
ISTJ.
ISTJ.
Not very fun.
Yeah, they're not very motivated by fun, are they?
No.
Complete opposite of me.
Complete opposite is you.
You go ahead, because I have a lot to say.
I don't have a ton to say. Like, I think they're not very fun, which is a little bit annoying. And if you're this is the nice thing about the ISTJ and the negative thing about the ISTJ. For like the ENTJ, if they walk in the room, this is now their area of influence that they perceive that you need to like get in line with. For the ISTJ, same thing, but this is their area of influence. And so if you come into their area of influence, you got to play by their rules.
That's a good way of putting it.
But it's a much smaller area of influence to have to play by their rules for. And like, if there's chaos over there, they don't necessarily like it, but they're not going to try and like bring it into alignment.
That's a good way of putting it. You're brilliant. Has anyone ever told you that?
Is that on the list?
They're too
Brilliant.
So I'll try to go quick with ISTJ. I will say I've been too harsh on ISTJ.
You have been.
But this isn't the episode where I talk about the good things, okay? ISTJ is my complete opposite. In my experience, I don't click super well with them.
You just listed the same thing 6 times and with different words.
They're a little different. They just
judgmental, too traditional, not open to change, cranky.
They're cranky,
stubborn.
Well, that is something I think that really differentiates the ISTJ from a lot of like me and you is they are very resistant to any change, and there is a place for tradition. So it's like, yes, that's important. Oh, I have to change the battery soon. But if they are not, if they haven't worked on that, they are very resistant to change and very rigid and way too traditional. They're not open to new ideas. And that's like the epitome of what we are. So that can drive me crazy. And then there's many things. They can be a little nosy too. I've experienced ISTJs to be kind of nosy because they nosy in a way, and maybe this isn't all ISTJs. There have been some ISTJs that are very like nosy in the way they want to make sure everyone's doing the right thing. Yeah. It's not to like, ooh, what's the gossip? It's like, are you supposed to be doing that, young lady?
Are you supposed to be doing that is definitely.
Yeah. Like they want to make sure everyone's following the rules, and rules schmoles, who cares, you know?
ESTJ.
Speaking of, so we're going from ISTJ to ESTJ. ESTJ, again, they can be kind of like the ISTJ can as well, but maybe even more so because of their extroverted thinking. Kind of controlling, a little bossy. I've experienced ESTJs as being a little judgmental in a negative way.
Yeah, they decide how they feel about things pretty quickly.
Yes, but I'm saying judgmental in the way that most people understand judgmental. Like, they're a little pessimistic, like they'll see the negative and everything. Now they do that, which can be a good thing because their whole thing is creating rules and creating organizations, so they have to see the flaws. But unfortunately, I've seen ESTJs where they do that with people where they don't need to be doing it, so they tend to be looking for the negative in everyone and everything. Now, that might not be the case for an ESTJ that's healthier. Like, I don't experience that so much with your mom. But
I think my mom had to raise 3 NT children.
So she's a special case.
I think that we had, like, there were times where, for all of us, I can think of me most specifically, where it's like, this is the value, and we do things this way, and this, and then, like, hey, I've been thinking about this, and I don't know if I agree with it. And, like, because I'm 3 of 4, like, there'd been some time to kind of wear her down. So it's like
she got so used to it.
Okay, tell me what your thought process is. Instead of like, no, this is the way it is.
Right.
But I think there is a certain rigidity of like, they've decided the way that the system should run, and it will run that system. And there's less, let's think about it. I think also, if I'm hanging out with an ESTJ, sometimes you can lose them. Like if I'm having NT conversations, like my mom is a great example because she's just like, I'm lost.
Yep.
I don't know what you're talking about anymore. But most won't just tell you that, and so they'll
check out.
They'll check out, or they'll pretend like they know what's going on, and it's like.
But I will say, like, this is partially why I have been personally, like, really hurt.
I've been personally victimized.
I have been personally victimized by
Regina
ESTJs.
George.
But, like, I have, as an ENFP and as an NF in general, I have actually been really hurt by ESTJs and ISTJs that are way too harsh and haven't maybe developed their feeling at all, because they will come in so hard with, this is the negative stuff going on. And when I was younger and didn't, like, that would hurt me really bad because they came across way too harsh. So that's one of those traits that, like, if they don't work on it, they can come across very harsh to other people and very, like, negative.
And they're not very emotionally nurturing.
No.
They're not very emotionally nurturing.
Not naturally. That's something they have to work on.
Yeah. And that...
For someone like me where I'm very sensitive, any feeling sensitive type, that's going to be hard.
Yeah. ESFP.
Speaking of feeling, ESFP.
They're really sensitive. Going the other way now. Yeah. Maybe they're too sensitive.
I don't know about you, but I almost experience ESFPs as being more emotionally sensitive than ENFP.
Yeah.
Or at least, what I will say is maybe not more sensitive. What I mean by that is not as resilient with their emotional, like, I feel like ENFPs can bounce back quicker. Like, oh, that hurt my feelings, I'm going to cry about it, but I'm good now. Whereas a lot of ESFPs I know, if they get their feelings hurt, it really sticks with them.
Yeah. And a lot of things can hurt their feelings.
Yeah.
It's like a little bit of a minefield.
It is true.
And
so maybe they are more sensitive.
And I think it's because I look at this like we have all the cognitive functions for it written down.
SEFI.
I don't know what it is then. Maybe because their T's so far back. But it's like, they don't get sarcasm all the time.
I wrote that down.
Oh, did you?
I did. Doesn't understand.
And so they're more inclined to like then get their feelings hurt. Or they don't get...
Part of it is the S.
They don't... Yeah, I think it might be the S. But because they don't quite get sarcasm all the time, either they get their feelings hurt when people are being sarcastic and they missed it, or they try and be sarcastic in a time that it's like,
it's not appropriate.
Read the room. This was not an appropriate time to like try and make a sarcastic joke.
Yeah, like I'm sure that ESFPs can be sarcastic and they do get the sarcasm. But overall, in general, it seems that most of the time, I have to be careful because sometimes if I were to say something sarcastic, they'll take it personally rather than recognizing. So I feel like ENFPs are naturally more sarcastic than an ESFP. And the ADHD is the other thing for me.
Well,
the flightiness. They're so SE that it literally can come across as ADHD, and maybe a lot of ESFPs have ADHD, I don't know, but they're so like, the SE is so strong, they're just so distracted. Like, what's the next thing? That they forget, like, what they just did, because they're so in the present. They're like, boop, 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 next thing, next thing. Which I can kind of relate to with NE, but it's to another level with SE.
And then the other thing, and it's kind of like with the sarcasm, but it's like the ability to read the room.
Yeah, socially.
Like, they don't know how to ask for what they need sometimes.
Yeah, and
they can't advocate for themselves.
True. I think on that note with the social is ESFPs have a hard time with seriousness. they care so much about things being fun that, like, they can be a little bit too silly when the situation needs to be serious. I've seen that as well.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. But I'm thinking, like, when we had the cake and everybody responded to the cake differently, but the ESFP we know couldn't just ask for a slice of cake. They just lamented that there was cake nearby and how much they loved cake.
It could partially be the people pleasing. Maybe
Yeah.
they're a little bit too people pleasing. It's like they don't want to mess up. They don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah, it's like they don't want to get in trouble, so they won't even advocate. Like, cake is a simple thing, but I've worked with some ESFPs that I'm like, I really need you to
be
tell
direct.
me directly that you just committed to this like $10,000 endeavor so that I can now back it rather than me finding out 2 days before.
Right.
That's going to make me mad. And it has made me mad. Yeah. Yeah. INTP.
Good. We're flying through these now.
The know-it-all. Oh, you wrote know-it-all.
Yeah.
I think what I don't appreciate about the INTP is it is under the know-it-all. They give me all the information whether I wanted it or not. Like, hey, how far away is the gas station? Oh, it's 2.5 miles by this road, but 7 miles by this road. And if you cut through the woods, it's 1.5 miles.
Oh, and there's an interesting attraction on the side of this road here. You should definitely check that out. And here's the full history about that place.
Yeah, and here's the history. And did you know that this road was originally built by blank architecture? I'm like, where's the gas station?
Yeah. And sometimes they do that, like, sometimes, well, okay, maybe not all the time, but some INTPs will do that on purpose to kind of like overcompensate or like to prove how much they know things too. And that's why it's like,
yeah, it doesn't come across like sometimes you'll talk to someone who it's like they're genuinely noodling around with a thought, or they're genuinely very excited about something that they know the history of. And like
that can be fun.
Yeah, I think when you talk to someone who's really excited and passionate about something, you kind of see them light up. It's like, I don't want to crush that in anyone because I think that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
But I'm like, you're not genuinely excited about telling me about the history of road architecture. You're just telling me because you want me to know that you know.
That you know that.
You know that we know that I know. And so maybe it feels like an insecurity. Maybe, again, there aren't, all of these types are insecure.
Yeah.
So there's that. There is, similar to the ENTJ, they don't like to be wrong and they're not willing to be wrong. So you have to walk them a long way to get them to change their mind about something.
I also wrote down contrarian in an annoying way. INTPs will sometimes try to always be the opposite position. They'll jump in trying to be the opposite position just to try to fight or something and win an argument, or just to argue, maybe not even to win, but they just want to argue. Personally, for me, I wrote down other things, but I'll just say this. As an ENFP, I enjoy INTPs. I can get along with them. I can have great conversation with them, but my main motivation in life is fun. It's to be silly and goofy, and I don't take life super seriously. It doesn't mean I don't take anything seriously, but generally, life is about fun. INTPs, I don't feel like they have that approach. They are led by a judging function. They are led by TI. And so when I'm talking with them, they're driven to understand the world. And so my experience is I'll come towards them with, let's be fun and silly. And they're coming at, no, let's be serious and figure this thing out. They can be goofy and silly, but that's not their instinct. So that's where we'll butt heads.
Yeah, it's like if you were going to bake a cake with an INTP, they're going to have the recipe, they're going to have the scale, they're going to have like the oven exact.
Yeah.
If you're going to bake a cake with an ENFP, they're not necessarily even sure what cake is. But they want to have fun on the journey.
Yeah.
Baking, like a lot of people are like, baking is an exact art. You can't like wing it. I wing it in baking all the time. So I don't know what those people are talking about. Like, you have to just understand enough about,
well, it's a good comparison between you and an INTP. If I was baking a cake with you or an INTP, I feel personally, unless you're a great INTP that's worked on it, naturally an INTP is going to end up annoyed with me. An INTJ won't become truly annoyed with me. An INTJ is going to be like, yes, we have a process and a system, and I'm going to help you like stay a little bit on track, but I have space for you to be goofy and fun. All right, we're getting close to the end.
INFJ.
INFJ.
Okay.
What is there to be annoyed about?
I've said this. I think it might be an INTJ to an INFJ thing. Maybe not. But INFJs aren't super, I mean, they're a little bit cagey. They're a little bit mysterious. and INTJs aren't like their intuition normally fills in so many gaps that like they'll let them be. But it's like joining a TV series episode 5 or not season 5 with no like previously on, and trying to like they're acting completely normal like you've seen all 4 episodes before that, and you haven't. And if you ask, you don't get a direct answer. And so you have to fill in the blanks along the way with like clues.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I can do this, but it's really annoying. It would be way easier if you just told me like March 3rd is a significant day and you'd like to have the day off.
Yes. I will piggyback off of that because that's kind of what I wrote is I think of it in sense of Enneagram. A lot of INFJs are 9s on the Enneagram. It basically just talking that INFJs really value harmony above all else.
Oh, okay, you go first.
They care so much about the group and how everyone else is doing that they will always put themselves on the back burner, and that creates a whole host of issues. That comes out through excessive people pleasing. It comes out as being too selfless sometimes. I also just feel in general, unless an INFJ has really worked on themselves, a lot of INFJs, they just tend to have low self-esteem. And so they will undervalue themselves, underappreciate themselves, and that can be annoying to the rest of us because it's like, INFJ, you are amazing. You are so great. You care too much about everyone else's needs. Just take care of yourself. Be direct. You can be yourself. You can be open. But a lot of INFJs have this insecurity that they don't want to be in the spotlight. They want everyone else to be first, to the point where they deal with a lot of shame. And so then that can be, I don't even want to say that that's annoying because I feel bad for them. But
it's the thing that's really annoying is like the value of harmony is so high that they'll like smile to your face and then
they won't be honest.
They won't be honest about it, and so then not all, right? It depends on how mature you are, but then behind your back there'll be whatever different, and it's like that's not causing harmony. But because you're avoiding this so hard, like you created this.
You created the problem for yourself.
Yeah.
All right, next one.
ISFP.
ISFP. This was another hard one for me. They're just sweet little hippie baby angels.
They sometimes think they know what we're talking about, and they're just in a parallel world and don't really get it.
ISFPs live in a world of their own, and I think that's beautiful.
So, like,
a little weird, but beautiful.
They'll think, it's like they're fascinated by things and they'll think that they're part of it.
Yeah.
But they're not. They didn't actually engage. They were just right next to it.
I find that a lot of ISFPs try to approach logic through their feeling. It's like they're using a feeling filter to understand logical, intellectual conversations.
It's like how ENTPs use logic to understand feelings.
Yeah, and so the ISFP will join in the intellectual conversation. It's like, that's not quite what we were talking about. It's like you're kind of talking about what we're talking about, but it's parallel to it. And like, okay.
And they can't make it the rest of the way, so you just have to go to where they are.
Yeah, you have to just meet them where they are in that conversation.
And they're kind of really gullible. And so, specific to me, I'm always afraid that they miss the sarcasm, they miss the joke, and then
they'll just believe whatever you tell them.
They just believed it.
If you say something very seriously, an ISFP will probably just believe you. Like, really? Wow.
Yeah.
That's the danger there.
Yeah, and it's a little bit concerning.
ISFPs, we're concerned about you. Are you okay?
They don't know.
They're not sure. We'll just say you're okay.
And then I'm just keep going. I'm like, and then I hate this, and then I hate no.
She can find anything she hates about any type.
It's like they're the special circumstance in every situation of why the rules maybe don't apply to them the same way they applied to everybody else.
They really do not want to get put in a box at all.
Yeah, and so it's not like they're trying to get like special privileges.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, what's your favorite color? I said, well, on Tuesdays it's this, but I've really been like moving towards this and then this. And it's like, look, I know some people like have a scale. Some people don't always have the same favorite color, but just like say green or something so we can move on because this was just a mixer.
They just can't. Very indecisive.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to say this about ISFP. And how do I say this? They can tend to be needy, especially if they're unhealthy, but they're not needy in a way where they are asking for the help. Unfortunately, ISFPs can sometimes be so swept up into things that like you're like, no, don't go off that cliff. And so you almost sometimes, if it's mostly unhealthy ISFPs, where you're like, you feel like you need to watch them just to make sure they don't end up in the wrong situation. I think that's why they tend to pair well with ENTJ and stuff like that can keep them like on a track. Because otherwise they're so go with the flow that they can end up in a situation that's not good for them. And so that's what I mean by needy, is like, if you take your eye off of them for too long, they might end up in a really bad situation. So
yeah, they're just gullible. They're gonna end up in a cult.
They're just sweet little angel babies, and you just want to protect them. And so that's where that like, don't jump off the cliff, you're about to fall, you know?
Yeah, it's a little unfortunate. Are we done? No, we haven't done INTJ yet. Anyone else we've missed?
Let's find out. Keep going.
ESFJ.
ESFJ. How could we forget?
They can be mean.
Like, to your face or behind your back?
Yes, but if they're mean to your face, you feel like you got complimented.
They're just Regina George, guys.
A lot of emphasis and idea on like hierarchy and where you fall in the hierarchy.
Yeah, they like ENFJs. They really care about social ranking and status. They're very conscientious of that.
A little bit shallow.
Or very conscious of that, I should say.
Conscientious.
Conscientious of that.
I think shallow is also, like, they can be shallow.
Yeah. I put down too focused on materialism. I've known a lot of ESFJs that, listen, they have great taste in pretty much anything. Food, fashion, interior design. Great with all of that. With that external materialistic stuff, but sometimes they become too focused on it where they care a little too much, in my experience.
Yeah. Yeah, I think sometimes sometimes, especially if they're not healthy, people become objects to get to where they're going instead of people being people.
Yeah, because that leads me to ESFJs, in my experience, can be a little gossipy, especially if they're not super mature. They can tend to be a little gossipy because ESFJs are very social, and they're like they're the hostess, the host of the party. Everyone loves an ESFJ for the most part, but they can be a little gossipy. Okay, they like to know the tea, and they can spill the tea, but sometimes it can be a little gossipy. I was gonna say, just like the ENFJ, ESFJs can be nosy.
Yeah, well, that's why nosy came up,
That's
and I
kind of
was
where
like, oh, we haven't done the other nosy.
That's
type.
where the gossipy comes from too. Is they can be a little nosy and a little smothering sometimes, you know.
Yeah. Okay.
There we go.
That's what it came up. They stare a lot.
It's true. I have known many ISFJs, and all of them have this one trait where they tend to stare at you. Even if you're not doing anything, I'll just catch them staring. And I think it comes from their SI. It's an internal sensing. They are processing. They need to take in what they're seeing, and they're processing it. And I think that's why they tend to stare. But I personally do not like people just watching me, so it makes me uncomfortable.
It's different than the INTJ stare.
Yeah, INTJ stare is scary.
Yeah, the INTJ stare is like a tool for the INTJ to intimidate people.
Oh, yeah. The INTJ stare/glare is different than the ISFJ stare. And the ISFJ is very like, they are just processing. It's a blank stare where they're just taking it in. And that personally makes me uncomfortable. I understand why they're doing it. Makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah. ISTJ is also not great at sarcasm.
Yeah. I think like they do have a sense. I think every type has their own sense of humor. But that's something is ISFJs aren't super witty. And I love types that are very witty. So that's why I have a hard time clicking with an ISFJ. Because they're not like super sharp and witty like INTJ or whatever.
There's also, again, I think we hit this with some of the other S types. They want to do, like, they would rather get permission than forgiveness. And so they can't always make the point from point 1 to point 2 or like A to B. They can't make those leaps on their own without like, this is how you do it. This is the exact path you take.
They need people to lay out the groundwork for them, step by step.
For someone who's an INTJ who is, tell me point A, tell me point B, tell me if there's any
tell me the big picture.
Yeah, if there's any major like cliffs that you don't want me to go off of, and I'll get you there.
Yeah.
that where it's like they're like point A, point B, every point in between. What's the line? Where do we go? Da, 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 da.
They want to know the rules. They want to know the
Yeah.
guidelines.
There's a bump on the road. Was that okay?
Yeah.
And it's just like, good Lord.
Yeah, because for us N types, especially ENFP, INTJ, ENTP, some of them, we're big picture thinkers. We care mostly about the end goal. I don't really care so much how we get there, but can we get there? That's all that matters. The ISFJ, especially ISTJ as well, they're like, what are the rules? Tell me step-by-step instructions to get, because they care more about doing things the right way. We don't care so much about that.
Yeah.
So I personally can find that butting heads too.
Yeah, I find that very, like, I find if they're
It's very foreign.
overseeing to me, it's smothering. If
Yeah.
I'm overseeing them, it's exhausting.
Yeah, for them, that's frustrating.
Yeah.
It's frustrating for both of us.
INTJ.
Okay, I think this is the last one.
I think so.
We made it to the
Cute.
very last. Did we start with no, we didn't start with ENFP.
No, that would have been cute.
That would have been so funny.
INTJ,
What annoys you about yourself?
I think there's this over, like, because a lot of INTJs that I know have a tendency to be a little bit more philosophical.
Mm-hmm.
There does tend to be like a little bit of Friedrich Nietzsche in them. A little bit of this is all pointless. I don't understand.
Nihilistic.
Like, but what is, like, there's a story about in whatever tribe somewhere mysterious in the world, there's an old lady who knows all things. And so someone came to the old lady and said, I figured out the point of the universe. I know what the universe is.
Mm-hmm.
And if the universe is this, 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 and this, and all together, and it's on the back of a turtle. And the little lady was like, very good, you figured it out. Now move on and go and build your life. And the person was like, but what is the turtle on?
It never ends.
And but what is the turtle on? And it was like each step of the way they'd come back and they would be like, but what is the turtle on? And finally the little lady's like, it's turtles all the way down. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, it's too big picture.
Yeah.
You need to come into the moment. And I think, like, as an INTJ, I struggle with that. But interacting with other INTJs, sometimes we hit that. And I'm like, it doesn't matter. It's turtles all the way down.
Yeah. That personally doesn't annoy me about the INTJ, but I do think that can be a flaw of the INTJ.
Yeah.
It's like the strength and the weakness.
Also annoying about an INTJ, they're a little bit of know-it-alls.
Yeah, they can be.
They are reluctant leaders. And when you really just need them to step up and do something, they wait until they know they're their last option to do it.
Reluctant. Yes.
Not very emotionally sensitive all of the time. They can be.
If they don't work on their feeling side, they can be way too harsh.
Yeah.
And that's very scary to us feelers.
They exude a lot of confidence, but they actually don't feel confident. Like, sometimes. Like, so they have their own insecurities, but they still exude confidence over it.
Yeah. May I?
Okay.
I was about to, and then
you asked me to list of things that were annoying about an INTJ.
Well,
I'm helping.
I just want to say, as an ENFP, INTJ is the best type in the whole world, and I absolutely adore them. And it was really hard for me to think about what annoys me about them. But what I will say, what I hate about the INTJ or find annoying is, well, kind of two things. Number one, they can be too harsh. I have ended up with a best friend that has actually pretty balanced F. You've really balanced your feeling side.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually feel very safe with you with my emotions, but there have been other INTJs where I wouldn't feel safe going to them with my emotional needs.
Yeah, an INTJ can lean towards the ENTJ thing where it's like,
just too harsh.
Let's put this through logic.
Yeah.
And like, it is very like, if you came and you were like, I feel sad, I have this problem.
Yeah.
Every time, I try and go to bed at night, the windows rattle and I get scared. And so now I'm not sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
An INTJ can very quickly jump over the, oh my goodness, this is a hard time right now.
Oh, well, let's go fix your window.
I'm going to go fix your windows. And an INTJ probably will end up fixing your windows, whether or not you asked.
Yeah. And it's sweet. That's
and it's
nice.
Sweet. But like they
skipped over the
emotional
need.
Yeah.
So there's that. And then also, they're not spontaneous and adventurous enough. You, compared to other INTJs, are a little bit more willing to, hey, want to go do this right now? And you'll be like, sure, why not?
No, it's definitely true. Like, my brother's an INTJ, and if I wanted to do something with him, like, what you would do is you would bring it up 2 weeks in advance. and then just as an idea,
Yeah.
and then you tell them about it a week in advance, and you never ask them to commit, and then you do nothing, and you warn them about it the day before and the day of,
Yes.
and then you find out if maybe they can do it or not.
Yep. So
again, it's a breadcrumbs thing.
It depends on the INTJ, but a lot of INTJs just aren't willing to go be adventurous and go do new things, and that can be really stifling for an ENFP, because I need an INTJ that's like you. Thankfully, you're my best friend. That's why you're my best friend, is because she's more open to, okay, let's do something fun. Let's go do that.
No, there's definitely, it's like you're like, we're gonna go get boba, and I'm like, I'm going to bed.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to go get boba.
Sometimes I have to go find my more spontaneous friends to go do spontaneous things. But
yeah, I think it's fair. Like, the spontaneity of an INTJ is pretty low. The adventure side of an INTJ can be low.
Typically, INTJs are very adventurous within their mind. So they will be open to all these new philosophical ideas, and let's sit down and talk about those things. But, oh, you want me to go get in the car and let's go ice skating right now? An INTJ is going to be more likely to be like, I don't know, you need to give me like some time to think about that.
Yeah. I think,
like, I planned to lay in bed all day today.
I had some very important laying in bed. Actually, this was years ago. Here's another. I'm just going to out myself again on another story.
I think we did all of them, right?
I think I'll double check.
Just in case.
That's it, yeah.
There we go.
But, like, they were short-staffed at work one time when I was, like, in my 20s. And so they asked me, like, hey, can you come in? And it was, like, super reasonable, and I really wasn't doing anything. And my response really was, like, I don't think I said it, but I think I thought it. I was like, I had some very important laying around to do today.
Yeah. But that is important to an INTJ.
Yeah. But I guess I can come in.
Yeah.
The reason I didn't say it is because I knew it sounded ridiculous. What else about an INTJ?
Nothing. They're perfect.
Some INTJs can hold grudges.
Some of them.
Some don't. I find people who hold grudges very annoying. Extremely high introversion.
Yeah, that's kind of the openness to experience.
You can, they'll tap out on you. Like, I think there was a time we were just all being a little bit of assholes, talking over each other and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's super, super normal, but I'm like, oh, I don't have any capacity left. And I just got up and walked away.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's fine. I'm not mad. And I left.
Your introversion.
But I knew, like, the message that I was sending was, y'all hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
And one of the friends came back and was like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, no, I wasn't mad. I wasn't hurt. Like, I was just done. I didn't have capacity anymore.
The introversion kicked in.
Yeah.
No, an INFJ and an INTJ will just suddenly disappear. Yeah. You're like, whoa, where did INFJ go? Where did INTJ go? It's like, oh, the introversion hit.
Yeah.
It just hit. Because usually if my introversion is hitting, people are going to know. I'm going to be like, hey, guys, I need to go be alone.
Yeah.
Like, I will announce it. Which
it doesn't hit hard. It's an extroverted way.
It's an extroverted way of saying, I have to go be introverted right now. Yeah. Whereas the INTJ and INFJ, they teleport. It's like, whoa, where did they go?
Yeah.
Oh, they're back in bed.
Or in their chair, or taking a walk, or
they're doing their old lady hobbies.
Something isolated, and
yeah.
And even as an INTJ, if I spend time with an INTJ or an INFJ, it is annoying when the introversion hits them, and they're just gone.
Yeah.
Like, I'd like a little bit of like.
Got to go find ENFP after that.
Yeah, a little bit of an exit ramp on this.
Nope.
Yeah, and all of the disclaimers we said.
Yeah, disclaimer.
Like, if you don't want to be that annoying version of yourself, then don't be.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, if you
don't be annoying. Lesson of today, stop being annoying.
But if you have these annoying traits and you're aware of them, then you can soften them a little bit.
How about just be aware of them, but don't do anything to work on yourself?
That's what I do. And the truth is you can't actually control how other people are going to be.
Yeah.
And that's just how they're going to be. But you can control who you're going to be.
True. I try to have self-control.
I try and be the worst version of myself every day.
I think I've gotten better at my self-control. Have I gotten better with my self-control?
I think so. And I lied. Actually, I think I don't get enough credit for the terrible things that I could say or think that I don't say and think. No one gives credit for when we resist the intrusive thoughts.
An INTJ has a lot. She told me she has a dark brain.
Yeah, it's dark in there.
It's dark in there. And that is why the ENFP loves. One of these days, I want to do an episode where we talk about what we love about the other type. Like, what does an ENFP love about the INTJ? What does the INTJ love about the ENFP? Because I think I've had some people ask in our TikTok comments, why does ENFP and INTJ like each other so much? Or like, what is it about that? And I was like, well, let's talk about that sometime. Don't answer.
I don't know.
Think about it.
I have to think about it a little bit.
Yeah, because I already kind of know my answer, but we need some time to think about it.
No, I mean, I could take a stab right now, but I won't.
But you won't.
We'll save it for another day. So.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Tune in next time when we talk about what we love about each type.
Or the Muppets.
Or we type the Muppets, or we make Christmas cookies, or whatever we're going to do.
Yeah, we have a list.
Bye-bye. I don't want to take you to go pee with me, so bye.
How do you wave? Like this?
Actually, you know, these days I usually wave like this at people. I know that's weird.
I don't know why I do the fingers. Like, it's very creepy the way
You do it creepily. I wave like in a cute way.
Yeah, you do like that. I'm like...
That's usually how I wave at people. Hey. I don't like it when you do it. When you do it, it's creepy. When I do it, it's cute.
Yours is like...
Hi.
Yours is faster. I think I do mine slower. This would be a terrible reel. Don't make this into a reel.
I'm going to make this into a reel, absolutely. Hi, TikTok. Bye.